What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another maxed out crypto video. Today we're going to be going over the charts, another weekly update, see where we think the Bitcoin price action is going to go this week. So let's get into it. I believe last week we were talking about getting through these levels right here, which, we seem to be getting through okay. A little bit of a battle. I believe last week I talked about, I think we were, right in here somewhere. I said we'd consolidate a little and come up, and sure enough, we did. I also posted on my Twitter this sweet little big money flow, tight little trigger wave. She's tight, baby. And that I entered a trade and was already up. And I did close out this trade for a nice little profit. But that's no here nor there. Just want to let you know I am also trading my price action. So anyway, moving on. Let's go ahead and look to the next week. Alright, so let's start big time frames and head down. So weekly time frame, we don't really have any new levels or anything because we just went up, So we had a, another nice week. We're almost at 11% gain on the week. Market Cipher on the weekly has not really changed too much. We're starting to get a curve down, but nothing major to speak out of. We are starting to get a quicker money flow drop, meaning or rise going up. We've almost, gone past this little kink right here. If we could do something like this and make a higher low, that would be phenomenal. That would mean great things are coming. So can't gather too much from the weekly. Let's jump down to the 3-day. My favorite, the 3-day. You might learn on this channel that the 3-day is the favorite of the maxed out world. Anyway, we still have, there we go. We still have this resistance up here, that we're gonna have to battle through. And then of course we're gonna have to battle through this zone up here, which we were support on for so long. It's not really a box, it's more of a line, but whatever, same thing. We still gotta get through here. And also we have to get through 25, which is a very psychological level, So I don't know what's gonna happen when we get up there. But 3-day, let's get back to Market Cipher. 3-day, excuse me, is looking good. We still got money flow increasing. We have yet to clip. We're starting to slow down. We're not straight up. We're not straight up. We are getting tiny clippage. And the VWAP wave is coming down, but it's also outwardly curved, right? Which usually means it'll at least have kind of a flick off and then maybe come down. So 3 days shown, we still got some life left, which you can also see in the candles that we are still got some life left. So also one thing that I have noticed with Market Cipher is once this VWAP wave gets over, that is not the color we want. We want the pretty blue. As long as you guys can see, I'm sure you can see that. Once this VWAP wave gets over like 22, the trend is pretty strong. That's usually only on the lower time frames because if you notice, we don't really have a whole lot. Here it clipped it, and we had a nice uptrend, right? Here it got up way above. It's where we're actually at now. Similar, right? Money flow's different. It's a lot less. But we had a little pull down, and we continued. So that is definitely positive. Here, we were getting close to that 22 mark. We were at 20, and we had a few more days of up. Right, and then here, our favorite, this one, see, well, let's zoom in, we're a little far out, get back in there. Okay, so here, look, we got up to 21, which is pretty good. We did have a pullback first, but then we continued up, right, and then this one, that one's not as good, only got 17. But that's just something to look forward, something to keep in your personal mind moving forward with the VWAP on Market Cipher. Generally, when it gets above, 20, the trend is going to be very strong. Okay, So three-day still looking good. Not hasn't much changed from last week. We're making higher highs on the money flow. VWAP is super high and it's outwardly curving even if it is coming down. So let's jump down to the daily. Daily, we're looking good. We got the only negative thing is we are diverging. As you can see, we got the classic Jason Casper uneven butt cheeks. If you don't follow Jason Casper, I highly recommend it. He is a Market Cipher ambassador and he does a great job. And he coined the term the uneven butt cheeks. So when we look here, money flow looking real strong. We got money flow is real strong. You know, it's not coming down, it's just going up. So that's looking good. The diverging is the only thing against us. This little flick off is kind of against us, but it's yet to like kind of push down, right? It's just kind of hovering here, which often happens. It'll just kind of like, you know, squeak along. I mean, that's not a great example. Here's like a great example of a short scenario, right? The money flow, or the VWAP can't get pushed up, right? So we just kind of continue this and have one more jerk down, right, before we reverse. So I'm sure we can find another example when the money flow is higher. Like right here, let's look at this trend. Right here, see, here we go, prime example. See, it came down, but it just couldn't force its way down until it finally did. And as you can see, when it was doing that, we still had more left. So daily is looking like we got maybe a little more left. The only negative, money flow's good, VWAP's okay. RSIs look really good. They're coiled, right? You know, coiled with strength. They're still together. They haven't separated. When they start to separate is when the move gets weaker. So we could easily have a push into this level. I mean, I don't see why not. We could even push above this previous high and then have a bit of a reversal. So daily's looking good. Let's go a little lower. See what the 12-hour? 12-hour is saying the same thing as the daily. We still got money flow increasing, but we have a divergence. You know, we have a divergence. With money flow being this strong, you know, you really want to start thinking about the run being over, right? When we start to have a separate wave, separate diverging wave, right? That's stronger. This, you know, the wave's on the same move, right? Because this means when a separation happens, it usually means we have a pullback and then another push up, right? And that's usually the better spot to short than where we are. So I'd say right now 12-hour, excuse me, still looks good. We got the same kind of VWAP thing happening where it just can't push down. It keeps getting pushed back up to the upside. Especially right here, look, it just couldn't get pushed down, right? And finally when it did, it just stayed here and pushed again, right? So it's kind of back in that. So wouldn't be surprised if we got maybe another push into this zone. All right, let's jump down some more. Let's go cut that in half. 6 hour. 6 hour looks real good. We got kind of what I was talking about before on the 12-hour, where we're looking for a separate wave diverging for the short, right? But because this money flow is, I mean, that's a chunk. That's a chunker of money flow. Let's see. Last time we had that much. Let's do a little research here. Oh, here we go. Last time we had that much. Right here. Right. Where are we at? We still had another push. Look at that. And then a pullback. And then an even smaller push. And then a pullback. Right? So I still think 6 hours saying we got a little more upside. I think we are good that way. A little more upside on the 6 hour. And these are still up here. You know, they haven't even split the RSIs. A lot of times they'll do this first. And then kind of come back together. And then do the final push down. Right? So, I mean, they haven't even really split. A little bit, showing a little more weakness in the move, but that doesn't mean we can't come up. Just might not be as strong as these two, you know? Alright, so I think when we're just looking at the Bitcoin chart, I think we're feeling strong, you know? 4 hour here looking good. We're starting to slope up for another move up, right? And then locked in here and get that auto off. Okay. And then we could get our, you know, 3 divergence here, you know, here, and then maybe this is the final move, right? And then we come back and consolidate and maybe go lower, or at least consolidate before another move up. All right. All right. So that's all looking good. This is all saying we're strong. We probably have another move upwards. Now let's look at our other stuff, our other indices. Bitcoin dominance. I mean, look, we got the pop. I think we talked about last time there could be a little pop left in it. Sure enough, look at that. We got her. We got another 2% pop, and I'm not surprised because Bitcoin was outperforming most coins during this little last run. You know, it was up 8-7%, and other coins are up 5 and 4. You know, so that's the dominance can be helpful that way. So, but let's take a look. So, I mean, we could see a push into, you know, into 46 again. That wouldn't surprise me. This looks really strong. There's my brush. So this looks really strong on the weekly. Look, these are super tight. What am I doing? And, you know, momentum can't clip. We got a VWAP kind of flick off here. And that money flow looks smooth and coming up. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin continues to outperform. Let's jump down a time frame. 3 day. 3 days looking good. The only thing is these RSIs are kind of gapped. That's really the only thing negative. Money flow looks good. You know, I mean, ideally we don't have that situation. Like that. Right? Because it just barely came up. But oftentimes, this will make a stronger move. Right? And then, this VWAP, it is pretty strongly, you know, outward curved. So 3 day doesn't look as strong as the weekly, which means maybe we're going to see, you know, a bit of a slowdown, maybe just a bit of consolidation on the dominance while the alts catch up this week. So 3 day not as strong as the weekly. Daily starting to show even more signs of that weakness. All right, we still got RSIs in our favor. They're still strong and coiled, but we do have heavy divergence. Right? And we even got that gap divergence I was telling you about, where it's not just, you know, a single wave divergence, you know, they're separate, right? That's usually a little stronger. So that is not in Bitcoin's favor, but we are about to make a higher high on the money flow. Here it looked like we could have been curving down, but no. Could continue up. So money flow looks good, RSIs look good, momentum looks a little tough, which means maybe, like I said in the 3 day, then maybe we come back, maybe test this RSI, or not RSI, this EMA, and we consolidate a little before move, or we just consolidate and let the alts catch up. You know, this isn't a huge determinant of Bitcoin not being able to move up. Everything could just move up together. All right, let's jump one more time frame down before we move on to the standard markets and the dollar. Here, this move is even showing, you know, this either is a start of another move, or this is the start of the move finishing, right? Because we're diverging. We've kind of had this money flow build up, little less, little more. So I mean, this is either a little less and more, and dominance is really going to push up, or it's just, that's the last move, the last fizzle, right? Okay, so dominance looking medium, iffy. I wouldn't say it's showing lots of signs of strength, but that doesn't mean Bitcoin can't go up. All right, let's move into standards. The Dow Jones on, oh, we're on the monthly, we went the weekly. On the weekly, looking okay on the weekly. We are, you know, above this EMA, which most of these EMAs do start runs. There haven't been a lot of them that were janky. Look, they've all been good, right? They've all been good. So Dow Jones is looking good. This isn't really a divergence, you know, it's just kind of sloppy waves. Not divergence, just sloppy waves. Money flow is trying to come up. You know, once again, we just don't have divergence on the VWAP, just sloppy waves. I don't like this little tiny one. That's not ideal. So VWAP doesn't look super strong. Let's go down. Weekly's not helping. 3-day looks very, very similar. We got this tight little trigger wave. Money flow is coming up, but we had a very little small VWAP wave. So Dow Jones isn't looking as strong as Bitcoin. This looks a little better on the daily. We are is that a divergence? Yeah, barely. Yeah, you could almost not call it. So we're just kind of moving up. We did have a strong VWAP wave down to the downside. What is that? 19, 18? That's pretty strong. So this, I couldn't see this coming just right back up. So it might just kind of do that if it was going to come up. So we might see more consolidation in this zone for the Dow Jones. Right? There's not really much strength to either side. So maybe just Bitcoin just outperforms them this week. Let's take a look at SPY, see if we can gather anything else from SPY or SPX, same thing. All right, weekly. So we talked about this gap, you know. So it could eventually want to fill this gap, and that would kind of maybe signal the bottom of SPX. It could. We kind of got this head and shoulder-ish looking pattern here, right? So we could come up, back test that, and take off. I don't know. I don't know how those patterns usually play out. So here, this doesn't look much different than last week. Last week I think we were here, which, I mean, this looks, yeah, very similar. We still have these waves going on, and this is either going to start, you know, a new wave and we're just going to have little money flow curve there, or it's going to start the big one, right, which would be Bitcoin down with it. Bitcoin down with it. So can't really tell much there on the weekly, other than momentum is pretty strong and money flow is kind of coming up. Let's jump down to the 3-day. 3-day looks good. We got tight trigger and money flow coming up, and this kind of swoopy, kind of not coming down RSI, which is very good. And we had this test of the EMA and a quick bounce. So that all looks good. Let's do maybe a little sneak peek at volume. Well, we did have the bounce on declining volume, which isn't ideal, but whatever. Not a huge volume profile guy. I know it is very useful, but I just don't have a ton of knowledge on it. And what else? We're like right on this trend line as well. Seeing this trend line on the Twitterverse. So I mean, depending on where you put it, we're on it or we're breaking through it. Right? And of course there's this one down here as well, which if we were to get a fake out and come back down, then be my guess where we would go, which would bring Bitcoin down with us as well. So this is looking good. 3 days looking stronger than the weekly. Let's go to the daily. Daily's looking okay, you know. We have money flow making higher highs still. We are declining, but that doesn't mean we couldn't come up and make another higher high. We're not really diverging. I mean, we were here, which brought us down clearly. But this was a nice curvature. Nice curvature there. Just a nice curvature on the money or on the momentum. And now we are having potential for divergence, right? Because we got this high, and we got this momentum wave, and if this momentum wave just kind of turns over and price just kind of turns over, we will have a divergence. So that could signal coming down. But other than that, I mean, I think it looks okay. Once again, not as strong as Bitcoin, which probably means Bitcoin won't get quite the same pump it got last week, because this all happened last week and this was pretty strong. So can't gather a whole lot. So that signals again we might have a pump from Bitcoin, but it just might not be as strong. All right, so let's get to the dollar. I think I drew this from last week. Yeah, it was just this supportish area that they couldn't break through and then just pounded through. Let's go to the weekly on the dollar. So we're starting to slow down a little bit. Here, let's look at Huygens. Huygens would suggest otherwise. We still have lots of blood on the Huygens. So, I mean, when you start to have that much blood, though, it does suggest there would be a bit of a pullback, at least some counter trend move. We are starting to flatten out on standard candles. Let's take a look at Market Cipher. We still can't clip, right? We kind of tried here, but we had the what I like to call the flick off. But the flick off is rallying and might come through again here. These RSIs still look like they got at least room to kind of move down and curve, which, you know, could mean small pullback and then continuing down. So, dollar still looks pretty weak, which is good for Bitcoin on the weekly. 3-day, same thing. This one's kind of a little ahead, right? Because it is the 3-day, so it's showing maybe the weekly move ahead, right? These RSIs are starting to come down, starting to curve for a gapped move, which means, you know, we could just kind of consolidate and come up. And we're not really diverging, but momentum is trying to clip. But we are just starting a money flow wave, which means we could do this and then this, which kind of, the way this just quickly just bam, you know, came down makes me think we'll kind of do like something like this first before we, you know, hit a big red wave and the dollar really dies out and assets become, and assets become the thing to have your money in. So 3-day looks about the same as the weekly, not very strong. Daily, here we go. Here's a little more of what's going on. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, sort of. So we're trying to make a lower low on the money flow, right? We got this low, and we're trying to make it again. And this almost looks like it's trying to curve back down. You know, this is hanging, which also means it can't push to the upside that well, right? Like this whole area couldn't push to the upside, and look at it. Just down, down, down. So we might continue down and slower, you know, like that, which also means good for Bitcoin. Let's go maybe one more time frame down. Let's look. This is a strong money flow. We're still making lower lows on this money flow. Oh, we got a little straggler in there. We're still making lower lows, right? Boom, boom. Right? I mean, we are diverging, just starting to, but that doesn't mean we can't continue to diverge, right? Continue to diverge. Oh, that wasn't very good. You know, something like that. While money flow still just slowly starts to curve up. And then that's, you know, that's the play right in here. Right? That's where the bottom is. And the dollar bottoms out. So this is all in favor of Bitcoin. Dollar does not look that great. It does look like it's settling down slightly, but that doesn't mean it still can't come down and just consolidate. So that's good. So that still leans towards the argument that Bitcoin's got a move left, but maybe not a huge one. Not as big as the last 2 weeks were, right? Alright, now last thing, let's look at the VIX. Alright, so VIX on the weekly. And if those of you that don't know, VIX is the volatility index, and it measures the volatility in the markets, right? So generally, when VIX is low, right, that means a big, you know, sell-off is coming. At least that's what it has been in a market. When the VIX is low, a big sell-off is coming. If you go back and look, you know, March 2022 and April 2022, we had a large move to the downside. Same in August of 2022, we had a large move to the downside. So, with that being said, VIX is making a lower low, right? And it's looks a little ahead of the dollar. Got the money flow that's still coming down. Doesn't really show signs of curving up, but these RSIs are getting lower. You know, ideally they come lower and then they get together and then they go like that. So, VIX is a little tough on the weekly, not gonna lie. We are diverging, right? Not that much. So VIX weekly signals this could continue down. All right, let's go down a time frame, see what we can see. See, this is kind of what we want to see for VIX to bottom out, but that would be good for Bitcoin, right? Bottoming VIX isn't good. We want to see VIX continue down for us. And that's pretty strong. We got an outward curve VWAP. RSI is getting pretty low and tight, but that means we could still come down. Let's go to the daily. Dailies look saying the same story. So I think, I think we still got either at least consolidation in here, but I don't think we're just going to jump up from here, right? I mean, we could do that and flick up, right? And then this just continues up and this continues up. But I don't see, a quick move like this one, or even this gap like this one. I would say it'd be more like this in here. Maybe we have kind of a big move and then slow move up, right? Or maybe like this one is a better example. We kind of fluff around before we go up. This is kind of weird what's happening, because we've had such clean bottom up, bottom up, bottom up. Here it's like it's been like bottom up, bottom up, So VIX is a little unclear, to be determined. I think it goes towards the argument that we still got to move left. Maybe this is a little biased, but most everything except for the VIX has shown that we do have a small move up, right? And that could be VIX too. We could diverge again, and that would mean we continue up, right, on Bitcoin while VIX bottoms out, and then we kind of get another flush, another downside move from Bitcoin. So I think that will do it for this update. So I would say look to see Bitcoin to push into this box, right? And then I think once we get into this box, we can start looking for that short opportunity. Maybe we take out this wick, or maybe we test this wick, or even if we really get a huge move, we test this area here. We get all the way up to 28, and that could be it. But we are running out of steam, that's for sure. And we do have to have some downside. We can't just go straight up. We can't just fling her up out of there. Oop, where's my... Yeah, we can't just fling it up into everywhere land, right? So I think one more push into here, and then maybe at least some retesting, and then we'll see where we go from there. Oh, excuse me. Alright, well, alright, so I think that is it for this video. You guys have a great week, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.